After it seemed like the Raptors had eased off their interest in acquiring Ben Simmons via trade, all of a sudden the rumors are sparking up again, showcasing that the Raptors are still interested in trading for the 76ers All-Star. So in this video, we look to uncover why there is any interest at all. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans to Amateur Hour Sports. This is a channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This is your Wednesday episode where we're talking about the Raptors' interest in Ben Simmons. So if you like what you see from today's video and you want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors and videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show support to the channel. You can also check out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/amateursports for even more Raptors content. But let's get down to business for today's video. We are talking about the Raptors' continuous interest in Ben Simmons as rumors have started sparking up regarding the 76ers point guard, as now it would kind of seem like Ben Simmons had a little interest in playing in for the Sixers but was open to a trade. But rumors are now suggesting that Ben Simmons is completely done with that organization and is looking for a trade, and there are a number of teams interested in this player, especially the Toronto Raptors, which is a team that we obviously care about on this channel. The Raptors, who expressed some interest about a month ago before the draft in trading for him, and apparently there was this absolutely ridiculous offer that the 76ers wanted in for Ben Simmons, where the Raptors would have to give up Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Kyle Lowry via a sign and trade, as well as a first-round pick. But not just any first-round pick, the fourth overall pick that was eventually Scotty Barnes. All of that just for Ben Simmons, which made us ask, should Daryl Morey be drug tested? But now we're in a situation where maybe the interest in Ben Simmons has fallen, especially for the Toronto Raptors. And I thought that as soon as we drafted Scotty Barnes, the interest in Ben Simmons would completely disappear, because Scotty Barnes, I mean, to me, player comparable to me is more like a Walmart version of Magic Johnson, but a lot of people have given Scotty Barnes the comparison to Ben Simmons, and you can understand why. The height mixed with the ball handling and the playmaking in the point guard position does give you some parallels to Ben Simmons, especially when you look at the defensive aspect and the wingspan. But Scotty Barnes has a very similar skill set to Ben Simmons, even though I don't think that's the perfect comparable, a very similar skill set. So I thought that any need or want for Ben Simmons would be put out the window once we got Scotty Barnes. And it did seem like that was the case, because the Raptors were definitely pursuing the player, but after the draft, as soon as it happened, all that interest kind of disappeared and there were no longer any reports. But as the 76ers have maybe started to make him available and Ben Simmons himself decided that he is available, the Raptors have now gotten interest again. And apparently the Raptors sent in a new offer to the Philadelphia 76ers executive Daryl Morey, and it was not enough for Ben Simmons. And I'm trying to understand why there is a need for Ben Simmons on this team, because the Raptors currently, with the team that they have, I believe that their weakness is shooting at this point. They have a lot of those two-way guys, 6'8", 6'9", big wingspan, who are great on defense and pretty good on offense, but don't always have the best three-point shooting. And as far as three-point shooters go, we don't have a plethora of that on this Toronto Raptors team. Based off of the ludicrous valuation the 76ers have for Ben Simmons, I'm struggling to understand why we are still kind of pursuing this trade. Where would Ben Simmons really fit into the Toronto Raptors team that would make us better, especially given the fact that they are trying to get a huge return? The 76ers are obviously going to want Pascal Siakam in these discussions. I don't think there was a need to trade for Ben Simmons if we are going to trade Pascal Siakam, unless we do win the trade. This is what it's going to come down to, I believe, because the Raptors, they don't really need to make this trade, in my opinion. I don't think the 76ers are in any sort of position whatsoever to try to win this trade. I believe that if the Sixers want to trade Ben Simmons based on what we saw in the playoffs, they are going to have to lose this trade to bring in other things. But Daryl Morey has this peace of mind that Simmons is a player that trading away, you're going to get this insane return that you are going to easily win the trade, because everybody wants Ben Simmons so bad. But when you look at Ben Simmons' stats over his entire NBA career, you're looking at a young player who lacks the drive to truly make himself better, because statistically, if anything, it's a regression over the 4 years. It's not really getting better and better every year like you usually see with young players. It's a little bit of a regression. So we're wondering if Ben Simmons can ever truly get himself to the next level. Does he truly have the drive to get to the next level? And everybody keeps talking about he's in the lab, but this happens every summer. There's videos of Ben Simmons working out. There's videos of Ben Simmons shooting. But when it comes down to NBA games, he never actually showcases these newfound talents that he apparently has gotten in the offseason. And I can't see it starting this season because I've been fooled, and you've been fooled so many times with Ben Simmons. Oh yeah, he's worked on the three-point game. It's going to be there for next season. At this point, it's like boy who cried wolf. I'm not going to believe anything about Ben Simmons getting better until I actually see it on the court. And I'm not prepared to go out of my way to make a trade for him if I do not have that concrete proof that he has actually added multiple assets to his game. And understanding all of that, I really don't see where Ben Simmons is going to fit into this team, because ideally, if a trade for Ben Simmons is going to happen, then, Fred VanVleet is the key piece that the Raptors give away. Now, for Raptors fans, we're like, okay, yeah, we'd probably do that. But for Sixers fans, if you're watching this, you're probably laughing your ass off at that. You don't want Fred VanVleet in the trade like this one. So it doesn't really line up, because Daryl Morey is going to be in the mindset that he needs like Siakam and VanVleet, which is, what some 76ers fans have actually tried to propose online. Oh, is this a fair trade? Who would say no? Well, the Raptors would easily say no if Siakam and VanVleet were on the table. But then there's other reports emerging that the Sixers want Siakam and multiple first-round picks, and it just simply does not make any sense for Ben Simmons, who has continuously showcased the inability to improve his game, and when the lights shine brightest in the playoffs, what has Ben Simmons actually really achieved? Any sort of run the 76ers could have materialized in his entire career has come through Joel Embiid, or Joel Embiid when he had Jimmy Butler on the team. So it doesn't really make sense to me why there is this crazy valuation for Ben Simmons. And if there is that crazy valuation, it doesn't make sense to me why the Raptors want this player. Because if Ben Simmons, let's say we do end up trading around Fred VanVleet, he's going to be the point guard. We've got, the lineup of Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, maybe Pascal Siakam. We've managed to keep him, as well as Khem Birch. Now, shooting-wise, that is a huge load on Gary Trent and OG Anunoby to be your shooters. And I think that having Ben Simmons with Pascal Siakam on your team, well, that's two guys who are dedicated in getting to the rim. So they are just going to clog the space up for each other. And with a defense who can sag so much because Ben Simmons on the floor, that's just going to make Pascal Siakam's life so much harder. So maybe the trade is around Pascal Siakam, but if it is, I wouldn't want to do Siakam for Ben Simmons straight up, and I don't think 76ers fans would want to do Ben Simmons for Siakam straight up. Both teams would feel inclined that they need more in that, but I believe that Siakam is more worthwhile to have than Ben Simmons. So there is no structure for this trade that makes any sense to me, and there's no reason why the Raptors should have any interest, because our big, tall point guard playmaker who can actually shoot threes is Scotty Barnes. We don't really need to acquire Ben Simmons. We want to work on this project here with Scotty Barnes. Having somebody like Ben Simmons, I believe, would hinder the development process of Scotty Barnes as well. So there's so many cons to making this trade. The only pros I'm really seeing are Ben Simmons, he's a talented player, and his defense alone can make your defense, which is already good for the Raptors, one of the best in the NBA. But offensively, we are going to struggle if we do bring in this player, not to mention the monstrous contract that Ben Simmons is on and the amount of money that he is due over the years. The only reason that we should try to make this trade is that Masai Ujiri, he smells blood in the 76ers camp, because, they've been on this mindset that we're not trading Ben Simmons under any circumstances. But, now Ben Simmons wants that trade. So now the Raptors are like, okay, well, maybe we can kind of fleece them here. Maybe we can get a bit of a Masai masterclass to really bring in this all-star player into our team, this potential DPOY candidate onto our team. If they can get a good deal in this, then maybe they are going to pull the trigger. But based on what I'm reading, based on what I'm seeing, the 76ers have no intention to sell low here. They are trying to sell as high as possible, as any team would do. But, some of the valuation here is completely ridiculous. Masai Ujiri is never one to chase a player. He's never one to go out of his way to make a trade for a player. He is content usually with what he has, and if he can get a trade that he believes he can win, he will go and make it. Masai Ujiri isn't going to go out of his way to make this trade. My opinion, based on what I've seen so far, is that Masai Ujiri and Daryl Morey are just going to clash heads. Masai isn't going to overpay. Daryl Morey is not going to undersell, so there really is no middle ground for these two two to come to an agreement, especially considering the amount of interest Ben Simmons has attracted around the rest of the NBA. I'm sure there are going to be other teams who are paying up for Ben Simmons, like the Sacramento Kings, who seriously need some defensive help. But when it comes to the 76ers, when it comes to trading Ben Simmons, 76ers fans and media in general have set this huge overvaluation for Ben Simmons, where they are comparing him to the value of people like De'Aaron Fox. These do not make sense. Teams are really not going to go out of their way to make this trade, and for that reason, this confuses me. But ultimately, I seriously doubt Ben Simmons is going to end up on the Toronto Raptors in this offseason, and maybe we're going to be looking back on this video a month from now, and I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? But I really cannot see it happening. So all of you who said in the poll you do not want Ben Simmons on this Toronto Raptors team, I gotta say, you're probably gonna get your wish, because I really cannot see this happening, and that's all there is to it. So what do you guys make of these rumors? Do you want Ben Simmons on the Raptors? Do you think he fits? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button, or even smash the like button if you did enjoy the video. It really goes a long way to helping this channel reach some new viewers with that YouTube algorithm. You can also check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/amateursports, where we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern time today, very shortly, or even we're live right now if you're watching 30 minutes after the upload. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel on a road to 6,000 subscribers. You can help us get there by subscribing. It would really mean a lot if you did. Other videos by the channel you may enjoy, and always remember, at the end of the day, I believe what I say, and if you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.